Hello. All right, today I'd like to talk about some of the technical specifications behind my project, The Hours, that you can watch me yap about on the first YouTube video I made. Basically, me recording myself existing living in my room through a series of video and audio recordings and streams. Okay, so let's begin. We can start by talking about the components of this whole setup. So here it is. Here's the network diagram. This describes how each device, which has its kind of depicted as a graphical element, how they interface, how they communicate with each other, how they and through basically networking devices. So everything in this round box is a local area network. It's a LAN, and the communication in this is mediated by this, I guess, dual router switch device I have. So it sends out a Wi-Fi signal that communicate these devices communicate with, and then it's also wired through Ethernet that these more heavy devices communicate with. And then so this router talks to, so I live in a campus dorm. It talks to the wireless access point of my university, I guess, and then that mediates directly with the internet. And then if there are different devices that I want to communicate with, this entire setup. So you can just be a user accessing my website, whether secure or unsecure, whether you have like a password that lets you, I guess, be a privileged user. I back up my stuff remotely, and then I host my website on cloud. So I'll talk about why I have to do this, but those are all the components. And we can go a bit into them, starting with, I guess, the video capture. Yeah, so I have these two cameras send video stream continuously through the Wi-Fi signal to the router, and that gets we'll see how that gets saved later. But the cameras I have are two Wisecam V2s. I think V3 is out. Those might be better. I got these for pretty cheap, like $10 each from a tech shop like Micro Center. Really doesn't matter. These are all local IPs. These don't really matter though. And so, they stream through or video record through RTSP, real-time streaming protocol, I guess. That's the abbreviation. And yeah, I'll talk about the specs later also. Those are the devices involved in video capture, and then for audio capture I had to be a little more creative. So these devices, they're IP cameras, meaning they can talk to the network directly. The microphone I got, maybe you can get a fancy one that does that. This is like $60-$80, something like that. I just got off of Amazon. It's meant to do, like, I think Google Teams stuff, or like if you have a conference room and you can't afford an owl, you can get one of these omnidirectional microphones that I kind of just propped up on a wall. But this thing can't communicate with the network. It can't have its own IP. So in order to send an audio signal through my local area network, I had to get a Raspberry Pi. This is the model I got, 4B, I guess. And this thing is basically, it's a mini computer. So almost anything you can do with a computer, you can do with this tiny thing, albeit less computationally powerful. So it's got all these ports. It can access like networks, right? It has an Ethernet cable, but this thing connects through Wi-Fi, I believe. Yes. Yeah, you can see that here. And so we have this tiny pipeline that the microphone records 24/7. It streams to I don't know about streams, but it's connected through a USB cable to the Raspberry Pi, and the Raspberry Pi then forwards it to the router, where it then gets processed. So this is a local IP. I originally tried to get this thing to do transcriptions, but it was just not computationally powerful enough. I had to get my beefier desktop to do that. We'll also talk about that later. Okay, so networking, this is kind of like the spinal cord behind the nervous system behind this whole thing. So like I said, I live in a dorm, and we have these wireless access points, MITS AP45s. So these have Ethernet capability of reaching 1 gigabit per second. That's pretty good. Been thankful for that. So you'll see this is not a local IP, but yeah. Also, this thing supports Wi-Fi of up to 100 megabits per second. So then I have a router, which so everything here gets. Well, sorry, I got a combined router switch to kind of mediate between all these devices, because a router is something I can actually configure. It doesn't interrupt like this functioning network or anything. Yeah, I can configure all these devices locally, and kind of like I have a control center with which to do that, which I can't do with this wireless access point. So the router I got was a TP-Link Archer AX1500. It's dual band. It has 5 and 2.4 gigahertz. I use the former, which is, I guess, decently fast in terms of the Wi-Fi. But then this is also connected to the NAS and the desktop through like actual Ethernet cables. So that's faster. I get up to gigabit internet with that. And yeah, this is the classic local IP for the router, I guess. What else should be said? Oh yeah, so the router sends out a Wi-Fi signal of its own. So this is purely local. This has nothing to do with the MIT access point that all of these peripheral devices communicate with. If power is cut, this thing survives, continues to do its. Sorry, not power. If campus Wi-Fi, if there's an outage or something. But yeah, obviously to communicate with the internet, I need this wireless access point. Okay, how about storage? Okay, so here's where I got a Synology Disk Station. This is the model. NAS is short for Network Attached Storage, meaning it's a storage that can communicate with this local network in this case. So it has 1, 2, 3. It has 6 drives, of which 3 are currently filled with 20 terabyte Iron Wolf, like Seagate hard drives. These things cost a fortune. I mean, so did this thing. We can get into that in a bit. But in addition, this is kind of its own computer. It has a CPU. It has memory of its own, and this does lots of things. One of the things it checks the health of these disks. So when something is wrong, it lets me know, and I can take action, maybe take the contents of the disk and put it elsewhere. The health for these things, I think they rate them at like 10 years, which is not bad, but not great. It's actually quite concerning to think how degradable disk space is. I think 20 years is kind of like on the higher end. So this is, I think, estimated for like 5 to 10. Was it? I don't quite remember. But in addition, this does a lot of analysis. So like this is a surveillance station, I think. Well, no, sorry. It has surveillance features. And so if you feed like a video into it, it can detect like motion and things like that I don't really use, but in principle you could. It has like backup features, which is quite nice. This is remotely backed up to an offsite 12 terabyte HDD in Toronto. So if something happens to my room, I don't know if there's a fire or something, everything gets saved. Right, so I'm running on RAID 1 redundancy, so I have, that means everything is just like striped, it's copied, everything on one disk is copied in the other. And yeah, so currently I don't have like 20 terabytes of data. I have I think under 10, so I can easily afford to copy everything. And the third drive is currently unused, but it will be at some point. So this is connected to my network through Ethernet. It also communicates with my desktop directly through USB cable, I think. And is that everything I wanted to say? I believe so. This thing also cost a surprising amount of money actually, but all my files are stored in here, and I have no complaints regarding its functionality. It's quite nice. I also maintain a desktop server, so I do a lot of work. So I'm streaming from this thing most of the time. I work as a grad student in like theoretical physics, I guess. I work on this computer, run Mathematica, and I browse memes, the web, just fuck around, YouTube on here. So yeah, this is where I do everything at home, at least. Um, okay, so I have a 13th generation i9 CPU with 32 cores. Um, GPU wise, I have a 4070. I would be nice to have a 4080 or a 4090, but alas, those are very expensive. 4080 I think is just over like 1.2K or something, and 4090 would be like a little over 2,000. The 50 series is coming out apparently, and was it December I heard? So hopefully prices will drop. This is my motherboard. Memory, I have 64 gigs at 5.2 gigahertz frequency. I have a 1 terabyte SSD. This is the model OS. Yeah, so I'm running Ubuntu 2204. I've been pressured to upgrade to Arch. And maybe someday I'll actually do that. But now, well, the package manager for Ubuntu is kind of annoying. But besides that, it's far superior to Windows, which I used for the majority of my undergrad, I guess. Um, right. And I mean, it has a GNOME is nice for the most part. The graphics user interface, I guess that's what it's called, GNOME. And this is also connected via Ethernet cable to my router switch. So it has this IP. Okay, and right. So you might be wondering, if I have a desktop server, why do I need a cloud server? Why do I host my website on Amazon? Did I sell my soul to Jeff Bezos instead of just doing this from my room? And that would be nice to do it from my room. This was the first idea, but it's not possible because my dorm does not allow me to have a public IP. A static IP, which you need if people are communicating with you. If they go to your website, you kind of need a fixed IP with which they can receive requests from, I guess. So this was a headache, and the solution I had was to run my website on an instance of Amazon, like AWS, Amazon Web Services. The thing I used was EC2. I think that's Elastic Cloud 2. It doesn't really matter. So I guess these are some of the specs. A cloud server has, so this is the instance. You can purchase all these instances from Amazon, each with different computational power, I guess. I'll probably have to scale. Well, we'll probably have to scale this at some point. This is not too expensive at the moment. I will get into that later. So it has 2 CPUs, 4 gigabits of RAM. The connection to the network is quite nice though. Yeah, what I have in residence is like 1/5 this. So this thing does have a public IP. So whenever someone wants to access my website, they just they can easily do that. Oh yeah, this thing also runs Linux, I guess. But I have to be able. So this thing has to communicate with my local, with my LAN, right? So the way I did this was, well, actually, had a friend help me set this VPN up. It's through WireGuard. So there's this tunnel directly from my desktop to the cloud. So for instance, if I'm like for the streaming protocol, the cameras send a signal to my desktop, which then gets forwarded through the VPN tunnel to the site. Basically, the VPN tunnel, because I can't have a public IP, a static IP, for any of my home devices, this lets me this lets the cloud server communicate directly with my desktop and I guess my network, even broader. Right, so I mean, it is unfortunate that I had to use a third party for this, but hey, I guess Cloudflare is also third party, and that's what everyone uses. Okay, so here you can see some of these pieces in action. This is my tower, it's my computer. This is the Synology, this is the router. I have two cameras, one of which is wall mounted, one of which is I mean, this is perched on like a high place usually, but in principle I can put it on, which I don't, maybe I should. And then this is the audio setup. This is microphone connected via USB cable to a Raspberry Pi, which is, both are mounted on the wall. This is a window, blinds are closed, but yeah, so this is omnidirectional. And this thing communicates with my network. And this entire thing, there's an Ethernet cable threading through this to the wireless access point. So those are all the audio components. I mean, all of the network components in my room. And okay, so that's kind of the hardware. Now I run a couple scripts on this that we can go through. So the first one is video recording. The cameras send data through Wi-Fi to my router, which then gets stored in my NAS. The protocol I use is RTSP, real-time streaming protocol. This is the video format. The quality for video recordings is 1920 by 1080 at 20 FPS, frames per second, which is quite good, I'd say. So I've been kind of archiving this since it's been a year and a month, I guess, a little over a year and a month. And the size of this is, so this is on RAID 1, so the size is doubled, but the unique data takes like a little less than 7 terabytes as of today or yesterday. So you can access all this through this link. Then you can slash hourglass1 or hourglass2, and that'll take you to these individual camera recordings. Okay, what about audio recordings? So I mentioned before that the microphone sends this to the Raspberry Pi, which communicates with the network to send this to the NAS, I guess. The audio protocol I use is just MP3. The file type is basically MP3 with some add-ons. This is the quality, 32 bits per sample at 48 kilohertz. So I've been doing this for, this should be a 2024. Let me fix that. Right. Right. Okay. Slideshow. Okay, that's fine. One sec. Yeah, okay. Right. And this is decently sized. It's like 0.1 of a terabyte times 2 because of redundancy. Well, times 3 if you count the backup, but I don't know if you want to do that. Okay, so I tried to, transcriptions-wise, so I have a bunch of audio, but like people probably don't want to listen to it because most of the time it's just empty. So it'd be good to extract the text from it, right? And I tried to get the Raspberry Pi to do that using, okay, so the AI I used was, the language model I used was Whisper. This is like the only open thing about OpenAI. Don't make that sound like I'm complimenting OpenAI, but this is like, it's a pretty decent model. There are different sizes. There's like small, the tiny, small, medium, large. I think the one I use is medium. Actually, maybe I use large. I think I changed that at some point. No, I think it's currently medium, because the large model would hallucinate more for some reason. So the idea of a hallucination is that so like it could be empty. There could be no sound coming from coming from the recording, or something weird, like maybe, I don't know, I bump the table or something. And then that's interpreted as a string of text. So it likes to hallucinate thank you, or like for some reason, or something like oh, there are lots of these, like I think, but it took care of most of these, I'd like to think. Nevertheless, the model is still quite good. I run this on my GPU, so it takes like less than like 20 seconds per hour of recordings, which is pretty good, I suppose. You can see both of these online, both the raw recordings and the transcriptions at this link. Oh yeah, so my desktop pulls the file from the NAS, and then and then writes it reads, and then it writes the transcriptions also to the NAS. Okay, right, I also have a live stream going on. So these cameras forward data through Wi-Fi to actually my desktop. And then for each frame that it receives, so this does not record audio at the moment. Yeah, that's a bit of a headache to do. But then for each frame it records, it processes slightly. Well, actually, yeah, so actually it takes every 1 in 20 frames, you'll see that. So the quality is unchanged, but the frame rate is reduced from 20 to 2. This is based to save costs, I guess, because Amazon bills you for upload. Yeah, got me by the balls. So same protocol, same video format. It just does this. Yeah, there's some processing. Like I said, there's some processing being applied. Like it puts both of the cameras next to each other, and then it sends that to the cloud server. You can access this here. This has been active for like 4 months, I think. 5 months, maybe. Yeah, 6 plus 5 is indeed 11. So that's the path for the live stream. Oh yeah, I also back this thing up once a day. If you look at the size, it sums up to be under 20 gigs per day. This is including both the audio and the video. The transfer rate is throttled to 50 megabits per second. So I don't check any flags or something. So this remote backup, the location, well, yeah, I have a friend in Toronto who, he actually has been helping me set up a lot of this, he's been helping me with a lot of the networking, the WireGuard stuff, just routing in general. He's been a great help. Right, so I'm in Boston, this is sent to Toronto. The frequency, it backs up once per day, or I guess night, and the backup has been active for like four-ish months. It is nice not having all your eggs in one basket, I suppose. Right. Okay, what if you're a web user? What if you want to access the contents of the NAS or the website? So you can be a secure user or an unsecure user, or a secure user if you have a password. If you're an unsecure user, so that would be like everyone watching, I guess. You can, R means read. You can read all of these things. So you can either pull from my website and that gets sent back to you, or maybe the website needs, if you ask for a recording, it pulls from the NAS and forwards this back to the end user. If you're a secure user, this is basically me. I can do all of the above, but I also have access to a calendar and agenda, so I can add things to, if I have a phone, I can add items remotely. And I also have a scratch pad where I just type random stuff. If I have, I don't know, an email I want to write, I'll just do it here. It's funny because Linux does not have like a Notepad or Word or anything. So instead of using LibreOffice, this is kind of what I do instead. RW stands for both read and write. And oh yeah, there will be more of coming soon, more features that I'll mention in a bit. There's also this timeline thing. So I have this logger that I can use to log what I'm doing at every moment. So for instance, now I'm doing like I'm making this video, so that should be there. I'm not sure if it is exactly. I should be more consistent with this, but like if you go to the main page, like WTC .ca/hourglass, you should well, once you scroll down, you should see this. So there's some common modes of failure that I can also talk about. So what happens if there's an internet outage? That means connection to the MIT router is cut, but everything here functions fine. This in particular, all the peripherals still send data to my NAS. Desktop still runs. It's just that I can't communicate with the internet. That's it. Okay, power outages is well, and once I can, then the functionality is immediately restored. I don't have to do anything. Power outage is more crippling. So everything in this in this red. Yeah, I guess if the campus internet outage, this should also be red. The VPN tunnel also gets broken. But if there's a power outage, then everything in this red square gets like turned off. But so yeah, I'm kind of cucked. I can't do anything. But so this has happened before. Nothing too major. But when the power gets restored, then I don't have to really do anything. The scripts are automatic, and they continue to send data to the NAS and my desktop. The scripts here still run. The transcriptions script, for instance, runs every. It's a cron job that runs every hour. And okay, I thankfully have not had to worry about this yet. Someday, no doubt, I will. But yeah, so if there are too many requests sent to the host, then I mean I can't communicate with it anymore, and so other people can't either. But this is fine. I just have to go to AWS and reset it manually. I do have Cloudflare that should in principle help with. I pay for Cloudflare too, so that should in principle help with DDoSing. Okay, some miscellaneous items. Right, so how much does all this cost? Well, the desktop is the main cost. So this includes, the frame, CPU, GPU, motherboard. GPU was like 800, I think. Yeah, all of that amounts to a bit over 2.5K. So these are all one-time costs. The NAS, the Synology, the storage device actually cost a lot too. It was like 800, but then hard drives are fucking expensive, man. The 20 terabyte Iron Wolf Pros, I think they're called. They're like 350, maybe 400 each, I think. So I have 3 of those. If you add them up, it amounts to a small fortune. Then I have a bunch of peripherals, camera, mics, Raspberry Pi, router, the backup. Well, that was mostly free, but this comes out to like I think a little under $300. And then there are the regular costs, the upkeep, the operational costs. Again, Bezos has me by the balls. AWS, this comes out to around 30 per month currently at the current how much traffic is currently generated. So 30 times 12 comes out to under 500 per year. I pay for Cloudflare. This has a lot of tools. I can run scripts. It takes care of DDoSing. That's 20 per month. And then I have a domain name, WTCUI.ca. Yeah, this is much cheaper. This is like $15 per year to renew. So total, this is what it comes out to. It's been, I guess, a year or so. This thing has cost me a little over $5,000, which is it's. I mean, there are other things I could do with this money, but hey, this is not the worst use of it, I suppose. Oh yeah, so some future plans. Not all of which are tech related. Um, Backend, I'd like to increase the quality of audio transcription. So currently there's still a bit of hallucinations, very few, but it would be nice to be able to get rid of them. It'd be nice to support multiple languages also, because sometimes I talk to myself in Mandarin. Not common, but it happens sometimes, and it would be good to um, have that switch built in. Also, sometimes I have other people in my room. It'd be nice to be able to know who's talking, whether it's me or it gets changed to someone else. Right. And video recordings currently, I mean, they just like exist. You can search for something on a particular day or hour. But besides that, there aren't a lot of additional search features. I guess there's a timeline. You can see what I was doing at a particular time. But it would be nice to have other, like, more convenient things. Like, see maybe what's boring, filter that out. Well, not filter it out, but like this, have that kind of displayed. Like nothing is happening in this block of time. The 50 series NVIDIA GPUs are coming out. I don't know if that means that there'll be a discount. Like the 40 series will be discounted. So maybe I'll use that opportunity to to buy a new one. On the front end, so currently the recording is it's like it's video, but it's me in my room, right? So I am trying to like increase the frequency at which I record my screen. So for instance, me doing work or scrolling the internet or whatever, on YouTube, Reddit, etc. Yeah, I mean, there are some things that are private. Like if I have a monitor that is not recorded, but like if I communicate with friends, or for instance, or like check emails, if I'm grading as a TA, I can't obviously share any of that. That's confidential, but the rest, just what I do, is fine. And so some of these are already active. They're here. This is in addition to, I guess, YouTube, which I also stream to. I can do both at the same time. But it's nicer than YouTube. Well, there are benefits and drawbacks. One of the nice things is that YouTube will copyright strike you if you play like 2 seconds or something. I don't know, of copyrighted music. I was listening to this Beethoven recording, and that got flagged, so I got striked and banned for a week. I couldn't post any other streams. I just got unbanned. Yeah, which is why I'm making this now, I suppose. Right. But on the other hand, YouTube has nice traffic, right? Like if I just put my thing on the internet, I kind of need an audience, and that audience I need to build through other means. Yeah. Also, it's just if you stream on YouTube, you're the confines of YouTube's environment, right? Like you're in their ecosystem, and so you're a YouTuber, right? All the benefits and drawbacks that entail. The medium is the message, as they say, and I don't know if I like that. I don't think I like that. It's better than Twitch, where everything is very gamified. Yeah, for instance, the interaction between chat and streamer, or like they have all these badges that they try to get you to earn, to try and increase how much money they make, I guess. But anyways, there's a lot more I could say about that. But let's just leave it here. I'll continue to stream on YouTube as well, to kind of grow an audience, perhaps. It would also be nice to have like a blog, kind of, where I just throw type thoughts, ramblings, things like memes. I find I can just put there. The thing with social media is that conventional social media, is something like Twitter or Facebook, is if I post something, I feel that I'm imposing something on the world if it shows up in someone else's feed. So I'm I don't want to do that. If, for instance, if I post something that's like trash or garbage or like just otherwise not good quality. And the second reason is that people can respond and comment and critique, criticize. This is something that I am unfortunately quite sensitive to. I'm quite yeah, take criticism to heart, which is I need to. Well, I don't know, but this has none of those problems. It also does not have the form of like Twitter feed or Facebook kind of feed, which is better. They're like no ads and shit. I have complete control over the page. I can turn it into like kind of add artistic elements to it that I think are nice. But yeah, this will be implemented soon, maybe over Christmas when I have the time. This is over Thanksgiving currently, Thanksgiving break, so I have the time to like work on this. But once December kicks in, I'll have to grind. There's this, yeah. I mean that's I'm rambling, and that's kind of the end of what I'd like to say today. So yeah, that's kind of everything I wanted to cover. Again, this is kind of the network diagram that has everything. Yeah, I'll maybe post this. I'll add this presentation in the in the YouTube, like, under the video. But yeah, thanks for watching.